Some bands practice for years, just honing their craft before they even think about their first gig. And then there are bands like Dunkleosteus. They're born from a one-off party performance and somehow accidentally release a viral hit. This is the strange, the super rapid, and honestly, the fascinating history of a band that was never even supposed to exist. This quote right here from founding member Charlie Alomar, it's not just about their first show. It's pretty much the band's entire philosophy. For Dunkleosteus, a little bit of chaos was just part of the process. And having fun, well, that was the only real goal. Every band has an origin story, right? Well, theirs doesn't start in some dusty garage or a dingy club. Nope. It begins at a family birthday party. It was never meant to be a serious thing, just, a bit of fun. So the band gets together in the fall of 2023 for that one show. They play the gig, and then poof, they pretty much vanished. A long silence fell over the whole project until the next summer, and that pause really proves just how unplanned their future was. But here's the thing. Even in that first, totally chaotic show, there were these flashes of something really special. I mean, they had technical issues, only had 24 hours to rehearse, but vocalist Stanley Bucket delivered a version of Great Gig in the Sky that was so powerful, it actually moved people to tears. It was a sign that even in all that mess, there was some real talent brewing. That first show, they called it Live on the Loft. It was on the 50th anniversary of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, which, explains all the Pink Floyd covers. But I want you to look at that one outlier on the list, Paranoid Android by Radiohead. Keep that one in mind, because that choice becomes pretty significant later on. Okay, so after that long silence, another family get-together, this time in South Dakota, gets the members back in the same room. And what started out as a complete joke was about to become a very, very real, and let's be honest, a very strange debut album. They gave themselves just 1 week. That's it. In a cabin basement, they wrote and recorded an entire album, completely from scratch. And this wasn't just fast. It was foundational. That spontaneous, kind of high-pressure energy would become a huge part of their identity. And the album that came out of it, it was just this wild mix of genres. I mean, you've got a metal track that opens and closes with a ukulele, a lo-fi instrumental, and even a funk song about a sandwich. It was like they were just throwing everything at the wall to see what would stick, and somehow it all did. And then came the track that absolutely nobody saw coming, British is Bad, a satirical rap diss track on, yes, the entire country of Britain, featuring the rapper Fist Krasy. It just became this massive, unexpected hit. The praise was hilarious and totally over the top, with one fan making this incredible claim. It completely put them on the map. So, what happens after you accidentally make a viral hit song? Well, for Dunkleosteus, it meant trying to figure out success while all the members were spread out across the country. And that led to this really fascinating period of solo work. The Bad Saga pretty much immediately became this running joke. While the first hit was a pretty straightforward parody, the sequel, French is Bad, was way more ambitious. They pulled in 3 different artists for 3 different verses. It just goes to show you they were constantly raising the stakes on their own inside jokes. Now, during this interlude, you could really see the members' diverse influences shine through their solo stuff. I mean, you've got 60s rock, electronic music, a chill EP. They weren't just staying busy, they were each independently sharpening the very different skills that would be absolutely essential for their biggest project yet. And this right here brings us to the creative peak of the whole story. In the summer of 2025, yet another family reunion, this time out in the Utah desert, sparked the band's most ambitious and, frankly, wildest plan to date. The goal was simple and also completely insane. Record 3 entire, distinct, full-length albums in 1 week. It was the ultimate test of their whole spontaneous, high-energy, creative process. The result of that absolute frenzy was a trilogy of opposites. They produced Ambrosia, which was a serious thematic album. Then there was Nincompoop, a silly, lighthearted album to kind of cleanse the palate. And finally, the Slop album, which was just an experiment in pure absurdity. 3 totally different worlds, all born from the same creative week. Ambrosia was their most serious work to date, a totally instrumental album that they actually called the end of an era. And in a move that brought their whole journey full circle, it features a cover of Radiohead's Weird Fishes, a direct echo of that Paranoid Android cover that started it all. Pretty cool, right? Now, to balance out all that serious mood, they created Nincompoop, the fun album. This was them going right back to their silly roots, featuring a rap about foosball and, of course, the sequel everyone was waiting for, French is Bad. It was the perfect, absurd contrast to the seriousness of Ambrosia. And finally, there was the album they lovingly call the worst of all time. The Slop album was recorded in just under an hour and a half, and it is a masterpiece of pure absurdity. It isn't about quality, it's a statement. It's the ultimate proof that for Dunkleosteus, the joy was always in the act of creation itself, not the final product. So after this incredible creative explosion, the band decided to mark the end of an era. So let's just step back for a second and really look at what this accidental band managed to accomplish. I mean, the final tally is just staggering. In just over 2 years, a project that started as a joke for a party had produced a live album, a viral hit, solo projects, and an entire album trilogy that was recorded in a single week. That's a creative output most bands don't achieve in a decade. And it leaves us with this really fascinating question. The story of Dunkleosteus isn't just about music. It's an experiment in what happens when you create without pressure. So what happens when a band's only rule is just to have fun? Well, you get one of the most unpredictable, prolific, and completely accidental rockumentaries in recent memory. And honestly, who knows what they'll do next?